How long do you think it's going to take you to become fluent in Russian? I know how long it took me, but I think it might be good to interesting to share kind of like the timeline of how long it took me, and then to give like some ideas so you can understand like, so I'm now at this current stage of learning Russian. This is how long it might take me before I can have good conversation in Russian, and then reach like a lower level of fluency, and then a more higher level of fluency. First of all, there's no like answer that works for everyone because there's so many different variables that this depends on. Like, is this the first language, foreign language you're ever learning? Do you know any other Slavic languages, for example? How intelligent are you? Well, if you're watching this video, I assume you're, above average, at least in terms of intelligence. How much time do you have to spend on it? And which resources are you using? And can you immerse yourself in the Russian language? Like, there's so many different things. And also stuff like how much sleep are you getting? Because this also impacts it. So if you're kind of like working on these things, and age, for example, also works. Like someone who's 10 is going to learn it faster than someone who's 70. So, I mean, if you're older, then you've got more time and you know yourself better. So you're probably better. This is like comparing like a 25-year-old to a 70-year-old. 25 with so much things going on. It's kind of like a little bit of a tangent. I'll make another video about that later, but let's get started. So first of all, I would say to reach like a conversational level, for me, I would say like for most people, depending on how you approach, it's going to be like 2 to 6 months if you take a good approach. Of course, like with all these things, if you take like a bad approach, you can spend years and not get anywhere. So that's why I recommend checking out, for example, my course, Russian Conversation Unlocked, or at least signing up for my email list where you're going to get 750 Russian English cognates for free in like a sheet. And then you can at least like quickly upgrade your vocabulary for that. So for me, what it took me, I would say like a couple months, like 2 months of kind of like messing around with the Russian language when I wasn't really like, I want to learn this. And then when I got tickets to go to Moscow the first time, I knew that, all right, I need like a couple of months before then to make sure that my Russian was at least at a decent level. Otherwise, my trip to Russia was not going to be fun. And that's when I took a more serious approach. And then when I got to Russia the first time, I understood that I could have basic conversations about stuff. I could talk about the things that I enjoyed, the things that I saw that day, about where I wanted my future to go, like which studies I had done, which internship I was going to do, how I kind of saw my future, which country I wanted to live in. I could talk about my hobbies. I could basically, my Russian was good enough to connect with people. And I found that very important. And that gave me the feeling like, it's only going to get better after this. So the more time I put into it, the better it's going to get. So I'd say like for me, it was like 4 months. And in general, to get to like this conversational level, depending on which approach you take, it's going to be like, if you take like a very good approach, it might be like 1-2 months. If you take it slower, it might be 6 months, for example. All right, then we get to the next point of fluency. I like to call it like lower fluency. And this is more like, I remember when I got there, this is when you can basically talk about anything. When you can basically talk about anything and it's not really that difficult, but you cannot dive like super deep. And lower fluency, this occurred to me that at this stage, I was like at 1.5, 2 years in. And I remember when friends of my, Russian friends of my ex, they came to visit us in the Netherlands. And we picked them up from the airport, Schiphol, and we were sitting in a train to go home. And I just realized that while we're having this conversation, while we're just like, having small talk in the train, I asked him like, как вы долетели, хорошо спали, что вы хотите делать в Голландии? Like just simple stuff. And then I could react to their answers. And we just had it like I remember after 10 minutes of sitting in the train, suddenly this moment was in my head like, wait, stop. We are now talking in a foreign language. We're now talking in Russian already for 10 minutes. And it didn't even feel to me like we're talking in a foreign language. So I was like, wait, this is great because from now on, it's only going to get better. Like I'm already at the point where I feel comfortable with my Russian. And the more time, the more energy I put into it, the more I speak, the more vocabulary I learn, the better my grammar gets, the more I immerse myself, the more music I listen, series I watch, all those things. The better it's going to get. And it's only going to go up from now. So that's what I would call like the lower fluency level. And I'd say if you take a good approach and you don't do anything stupid, you don't waste your time too much, like 1.5, 2 years when you get to that point. And then, of course, we get to the real thing, the thing that people really want to focus on, really want to learn is like real fluency. And I've got to admit, like I started learning Russian in 2019, and I would still say that I'm not like 100% like real fluent in Russian. And I'm doing stand-up in Russian.
Меня зовут Ари Хелдерман. Я коренной голландец.
I can speak about anything in Russian, and I can go deep into whatever we're speaking. And I still feel that I'm not completely fluent. So real fluency might really take a while. And if you only get to like 20-30% of my fluency now in Russian, you will already be able to have conversation about lots of stuff, and you'll be able to almost like live in Russia without problem, or in a Russian speaking country. I'm not sure that's the best idea currently. So yeah, those are the couple of stages. So basically, conversational level, like 1-2 months to 6 months if you take a good approach. Lower fluency, it's like 1.5 to 2 years. And then real fluency, that's really a work in progress. All right, so what do I want you to do if you want to make progress quickly? Focus on a couple of things. Make sure that most of the days a week, you focus on learning new vocabulary, and focus on listening to audio courses so that you can improve, that work on upgrading your grammar and your speaking ability. Then watch series or movies so that you improve your listening skills and immerse yourself in the Russian language. And speak with people if you can. Now, speaking with people, you can do this with tutors, or you can sign up for a course like my course, Conversation Unlocked, where you'll get plenty of speaking prompts that will help you train this ability to create sentences yourself, because this is the most important thing and the thing that most people struggle with if they're learning Russian. Alright, спасибо вам огромное за то, что вы посмотрели это видео. Я очень сильно надеюсь, что это видео будет полезно вам. И удачи с изучением русского языка. Пока.